everyone, and welcome to today's Conference Tracker Tech Tuesday. We'll be going over how to communicate with your attendees and users through push notifications, email broadcast, and some SMS notifications as well. Now, today's presenters is going to be myself, Chad Blodgett, Business Development Manager here at Engineerica Systems. We'll also be joined by Garrett Effers, our Software Support Representative, who will be going through the software with you today. We also have a special guest. It's our new User Spotlight series, Tom Groves, who's the Executive Director of NORA. So Tom's going to be going over how he has used Conference Tracker for his events and what he likes about Conference Tracker. So stay tuned for the end where Tom will be going over his piece. Now, if this is your first Tech Tuesday with us, just to let you know, we actually do this every third Tuesday at 1 Eastern. Not only do we go over a certain topic within Conference Tracker, but also any type of new announcements that we have for our users, as well as a live Q&A session at the end. Now, before we begin, just to let you know, we are recording today's presentation. So if you registered or if you're here today, we're actually going to be sending you the recording so that you can watch it again later, or you can share it with others. You may have noticed everyone is muted and will be muted for the presentation today just to keep the background noise to a minimum. And then at any time, if you have any questions, feel free to enter that question into the chat box there. It should be called questions, and we'll be answering your questions after the presentation. Now, to submit those questions, if you look at, there's a little orange or red arrow. If you click on that, and then you see a little section that says questions, you'll be able to type your questions into that box there. All right, so as I mentioned, we're going to be going over event communications and show you how within Conference Tracker you can communicate with your attendees, your exhibitors, and your users before, during, and even after your event. So the first one we're going to be talking about is our event email marketing. So this allows you to schedule marketing emails that can go out to your attendees or exhibitors. And we actually call them contacts. And if you're not familiar with that, this is a great tool where you can upload maybe last year's registrants or a list of potential attendees that you want to register to your event. And then you're going to be able to schedule marketing emails to potential attendees or potential exhibitors to get them to register. So you're not only going to be able to increase interest and awareness while boosting your attendee and your exhibitor registrations. Now to do that, you just simply click on, when you're in the software itself, Conference, Contacts, and Email Notifications. And Garrett is actually going to walk you through this when we get into the software itself. So this is a great tool that will help you communicate with your potential attendees even before they've registered for your event. We also have SMS notifications. We actually went over this during our check-in Tech Talk, but you actually can schedule SMS notifications to go out to attendees or staff upon their check-in. So for example, if I wanted to set up a notification to go to me as an organizer every time a VIP member checked into our event, I could actually set that up through the SMS notifications. Or I could actually set it up for the individual attendees. So every time an attendee gets to the event and they check into the event, it can tell them to please proceed down to ballroom A for the keynote, or for whatever message you want to give them as soon as they check in at your event. And we also have an email broadcast, so you can actually send these emails through Conference Tracker really at any time. It allows you to send emails not only to attendees, but also presenters and exhibitors, or even a group of attendees. So any type of email message you want to get out to all of your current registrants, all of your presenters, all your exhibitors, you can use this email broadcast. Or maybe you have a group of members. You create a members group and you want them to receive an email that you don't want your non-members to receive. Again, build that within the email broadcast option. And lastly, I can even have attendees who have signed into a specific session receive an email. Reasons why you might use this is, I don't know, if somebody lost something, a laptop, a phone, glasses, I can use this feature to email only attendees who actually signed into that session with that message. Now we also have push notifications. So as opposed to SMS, which is more of a text message, push notifications will go out to those who are actually using our attendee app. You can actually schedule these push notifications to be sent to your attendees, your exhibitors, your groups of attendees, like maybe your members, or even those attendees that have registered to a specific session. So some ways that you can do this, again, any type of announcement or message you want to get out to all attendees, you can use the push notifications, or all exhibitors, or again, maybe my group of members, I want them to receive a push notification of some type of message I want to get out. Or I think this is pretty interesting, being able to send a push notification to those attendees who've registered to a specific session. So how this has been used for some of our other conferences would be if there was a room change or a change within the schedule, a time change for a session, for example, I could actually send a push notification to all the attendees who have registered to that specific session, so they know that the room has changed or the time has changed, presenter has changed, whatever it might be. And then the last one that I'm going to go over before I hand it off to Garrett to go through the software and kind of show you how to use these tools would be our social wall. Now, what's nice about the social wall is you can actually use it to keep your attendees engaged, but also while keeping them informed on latest updates. So you can actually post announcements within the social wall that attendees would be able to see. You can even pin them at the top. So if there's, again, an important announcement, or maybe you want to recognize a certain sponsor, instead of just posting the announcement in the social wall, you can actually go ahead and pin it at the top, and it will stay at the top of the social wall. So every attendee will see it when they go to their social wall at the very top. Now I'm going to pass this over to Garrett, who's actually going to walk us through some of the communication tools and how to use them within Conference Tracker.
Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for such a wonderful presentation again, Chad. And just to double check, everyone can see my screen, correct? Awesome. So to follow along with Chad's presentation, I'm going to go ahead and start with contacts. And like he said, that's our marketing tool native to Conference Tracker. And this is located in Conference Contacts to get started. Once you're here, like Chad said, you can import last year's attendees, last year's exhibitors into the system under contacts, and they will populate here with the role that you applied to them in the company if the information's available. From here, like Chad showed you in the presentation, we're going to go to email notifications. And here, this is going to allow us to create specific email templates specific to role. We can go to just attendees, just exhibitors, because within Conference Tracker, we have different registration links for attendees and for exhibitors, or just a blanket email. Now we're going to name this something a little creative today, and we're going to just introduce the people to our event. We're going to send this out to everybody. Now, as you can see here, we do have some defaults in the system. So if you want the message to come from Conference Tracker with a no reply email, you can leave these fields blank. If you do have a support email or maybe an info@ email that you would rather replies go to, or if you're asking them questions, maybe you're asking about sizes or donations or schedule availability, we can set that to whatever email it needs to be. Now, of course, we're looking at a fully customizable template here with all the little text changes, emoticons, pictures, and links. But the one thing I do want to point out specifically is the keywords button down here at the bottom. And this is going to show you all the available keywords for just general items about the conference, the specific registration URLs for attendee and exhibitor, and then the demographic information that you may have had from the attendees for your previous events. So if you want to reference their email, show them, oh, do you want us to keep this phone number on file? Maybe you're just confirming contact information. Or of course, if you're using custom fields, maybe you're collecting license numbers, membership numbers, you can confirm those as well through and reference those within the email template. Now, once you have it all set up the way you want, you can always click the little show preview here, which will generate a preview by choosing one of your random contacts. Or you can save the changes and move on to your next email notification. Now, once you have all these done, you're ready to go. These will go out whenever you have scheduled them on their own. And of course, the reply to will either be that no reply from ConfTrack or whatever you had set it to. Now, the next event communication that we had talked about in that presentation was SMS notifications. And that ties in with the check-in system that we went over in our last webinar. So just to show you once more, to enable that, you're going to go to Conference Setup. And down here at the bottom, you're going to see all of your visibility toggles for the different features within CT. And this check-in toggle right here is what's going to control not only the visibility of the check-in system, but also the SMS notifications. Of course, you would toggle this on and then hit your Save Changes button down at the bottom. And that's going to populate your check-in system and the actual SMS notifications panel. Now, as you can see here, we do have a base one that's set up. This is just to go to an example attendee, and it's just going to say, hi, thank you for checking in. Now, I've seen people get really creative with these because they are sent automatically when someone checks in. I've seen people use this to alert interpreters. Oh, your so-and-so has checked in and is waiting for you at the front desk. I've seen this used as just a welcome message. Oh, thank you for coming to the event. Be sure to stop by such and such booth to collect your drink tickets or for information about this raffle. You can really get very creative with these notifications. And all it's going to do is give your attendees an alert to the goings on at your event. Now, the next event communications we wanted to talk about was the email broadcast, and that's located under attendance, email broadcast. Like Chad said, these are very quick one-off emails. I've seen these used to very quickly duplicate a notification that's also being sent as a push notification, but just to double check, and cover all the bases there. I've seen people set up an email broadcast to alert all the attendees. There's a barbecue outside. Don't forget to come get your free swag bag. Or like Chad said, maybe just those people who are attending a specific session and say, oh, we're going to move the session to this room due to the alarming capacity or the alarming reception of this session and its contents. These are also great to alert for lost items. Conferences are very short, 2-3 days, maybe a week. If someone loses a very important item, this is a great way to get that message out to the entire group and really collaborate together to find and locate whose item that's going to belong to. As well, we have the push notifications. So we're going to scroll just back up to the attendees one more time. And just under the SMS is the push notifications. Now, these are great, and I like to joke around with my clients when we're setting these up, and I try to tell them that this is your chance to be annoying. Now, when you're doing this, these push notifications are great. They come through as little banner notifications on the app, and they can be scheduled in advance as well as tagged into Twitter if you want to put them on social media at the same time and really broaden your engagement within your event. And like Chad said, these specific, because we're under the attendees menu header, all of your audience options are going to be attendee specific. So specific people, all attendees, people registered to a specific session, or people in a group. So maybe there's a certain group of attendees at your event that you're doing a special dinner for or a special meeting. You can send them a push notification reminder 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes before. Hey, don't forget to join us in such and such ballroom for this dinner. Or like I mentioned earlier with the email broadcasts, you can send a push notification to everyone registered in a session. Oh, we've actually had to move this session down the hall to this. Please don't forget. Or maybe if you're doing session evaluations or surveys, this is a great way to send another reminder at the end of your event. Hey, don't forget to check your app, fill out your evaluations, fill out your surveys. We'd love to hear from you. And to me, the beauty of these is that they're scheduled ahead of time. So you can schedule all of these in advance, and it really makes it more of a hands-free process during the event so you can focus on the things that matter to you. Now, the final thing that we're going over for the event communications is going to be the social wall. And this is mainly interacted with through the attendee app. So from the web portal, when you go to the dashboard in your conference browser over here, which you can hide with this nice little menu bar, you can click social wall to see the goings on and the posts that are going through at that time. And this will update as it goes along. As well, to interact with the social wall from the network panel, we also have, or from the menu bar, we have the network panel. And this will allow you to see appointments that are being made, messages that have sent, or conversations that you're starting with attendees if they've messaged you and asked questions, or if you want to just create a general post and share files on the social wall. This is a great way to do so. Now, once you do these things and you share a file, say you want to share a virtual PDF of the schedule, you're going to see this picture pop up and that document pop up on the sidebar. And from there, you have the option to pin a post, which is what I've done with this picture here. And you can see that it's going to stay at the top. As well, you can report this as a must see, which triggers the attendees, hey, this is really something that you're going to want to see. This is important. As well, you have the moderation from this network panel and the gallery as well. This is going to be all of your collections of videos and documents and photos that have been posted to the social wall during your event. But with that, that about covers all of our event communications within CT. So now we're going to go ahead and introduce our user spotlight guest and hear from Tom about the unique ways that he uses Conference Tracker.
Thanks, Garrett. I had posted a question in the chat there too, as you were going through that. In those email communications, can you attach a document when you're sending that out?
Within the email broadcasts?
Yes.
Or the email notifications through contacts?
I guess either or.
So you can link to a web page if, say, it's a PDF and you have like an HTML link to it. We can definitely do that for sure. A direct document is going to be a big file if you're sending it in mass to a lot of attendees. So it would be better if we had a link to share that just for efficiency.
Okay, all right, thanks. Just about to send a broadcast email, so I thought I might be using that tool. But thanks for Chad and Garrett for inviting me. My name's Tom Groves. I'm the Executive Director of NAURA. We're a national membership organization, about 6,000 people. We have a large national conference every year that rotates all across the country. And our organization is a one-person operation. You know, I am the only employee of the organization. So I have a lot of volunteers and committees that help me with a lot of work, but a lot of what needs to be done, especially for the conference planning, falls on my shoulders. So finding a tool that can kind of make things work better, make things more efficient was really a high priority. Our conference generally brings in about 500 to 600 attendees. We're in the midst of planning right now. We have one coming up the end of October. That's typically when we have it, and closing in on 400 attendees as it is right now. We have 50 exhibitors, usually every year too. I did just sell out my exhibit hall. So we've been using the attendee and the exhibitor registration functions of Conference Tracker. We came across Conference Tracker a couple of years ago. I guess it's 3 years ago now. This will be my third conference using it, when we were exploring packages primarily on trying to help us track or scan attendees for credit hours. the majority of our members and the attendees of our conferences do so not just to network, but they are licensed professionals in the on-site wastewater industry, septic system industry, and they need so many hours every year, every 2 years to maintain their certification. So the training that we put on our conference, a lot of the sessions are approved for credit, and they get the credit based on their attendance in the sessions. The old way we used to do it is we'd have paper forms that would be stamped in, stamped out. Then you'd have to go back to the office and generate reports, sending it to folks. So so that's the main reason why we found Conference Tracker. We can generate name badges by the attendees that have a QR code. We have our moderators standing by the door that scan people in for the session and scan them out. And based on that, you get a report at the end that shows that, Garrett was in the session for, 50 minutes, and he gets so many credits for that. So really at the end, going through, just cleaning up a little bit of the data, because sometimes our moderators miss somebody, or they have the scan in feature versus the scan out feature, but that's easily correctable in the system. And the attendees within a couple weeks after the conference get a nice report that just shows every session that they went to, how many hours and how many hours in total. So that was kind of the primary reason why we used it. We, in the past, we didn't use any specific package. We may have had an online registration system, but everything was exported into Excel, and we had to generate our own name badges. We had to generate our own attendance reports and check-ins. So having an all-in-one package has been great for us, handling our online registration, all these sessions and rooms. We're in the process right now of uploading all of the abstracts for all the sessions. We probably have 60 concurrent sessions that will be happening. You can go into the system and assign the rooms that are going to be in there. You can assign the presenters who are going to be presenting those topics. You can assign moderators, other stuff as well too. So it's been great from that perspective. We don't as much use the blast messaging and the communication, so I was interested in today's topic anyway, mostly because a lot of our attendees are more blue collar. They're not as tech savvy. Just sometimes using the online registration and paying online can be complicated for them. So although we use the conference app and we have some users who are very good at it, the majority of our attendees don't necessarily use the app yet, but we've been kind of easing into that each year, kind of featuring it a little bit more and kind of pushing them towards that. So we still do kind of an old-fashioned conference program that has the room assignments and the agenda and the presentations, but we also have all that built into the app, and we encourage people to go that way. One of the best tools for me is the dashboard, and I think it was splashed up there when Garrett was going through there. I have a planning committee meeting tomorrow afternoon. I can go on that dashboard and get the latest statistics, how many attendees have registered, how many exhibitors, exhibitor administrators there are, and then if there's sessions that are limited, because we have a couple of optional sessions that have a max capacity, such as field trips and other events. You can set the minimum, and it will only take registrants until you get to that point. But you can go into the dashboard, and it'll show you how many spaces you have left and what your attendance is. So it's great for reporting features. So not to take up too much more time, but this has been a tool that we kind of stumbled on for one reason or the other. We've stuck with it for a couple of years. We really enjoy it. The tech support has been very good to us. There's always something that may come up that the developers may not have thought of, because it's hard to think of everything. They've been very responsive in taking input from us and others, and then working it into the rollouts and the improvements that you see kind of coming out, on a monthly basis or once a year. So we're excited to have our event coming up in a couple of weeks. It's really saved me a lot of time that I get to spend on other stuff trying to plan for the conference. I don't have to worry about the logistics and the registration. So that's really all I have to say. Look forward to continuing to use the product and these monthly tech session. So thank you, Chad and Garrett.
Yeah, thank you, Tom, for joining us today and doing this for us. We hope that the attendees who are here today enjoy our new Spotlight series. So thank you for being our very first one of hopefully many. Now, a couple quick things before we end today's webinar. I'm going to go over some of the released updates. So if you've been coming to our Tech Tuesday, usually this says upcoming updates. We've actually released these updates. So what those would be we've actually improved the accessibility functions of Conference Tracker and within the Leads app. You now can generate invoices for all payment methods instead of just for those who requested an invoice. If you go into Conference Tracker, you may notice some additional designs for badges, certificates, and CE reports. Also added some additional exports, as well as new notifications for new registrants. So you actually can get notified every time that there's a new registration. So instead of having to go into Conference Tracker and say, hey, did someone register? You can actually receive an email that there's been a new registration. Same thing for push notifications to exhibitors. We kind of went through a little bit of that today, but we added the exhibitors to that push notification option within Conference Tracker. Now we're going to close out today's Tech Tuesday, but before we end, we're going to go over and see if anyone had any questions. And I did see 2 questions that were submitted so far. One question was, is there a way to make an administrator without having to register them? We don't want our administrators to be included in the counts if they're not actually attending the conference. So yes, basically, instead of having them actually register and make them an administrator, you can actually manually add your admins within Conference Tracker. So if you just sign into Conference Tracker and then go to Conference Administrators and then create new, you'll be able to manually add an admin. You also can import administrators as well, and they don't count against your attendee limit. All right, so another question I had here is, do we have access to all the communication tools within the basics package? I'm actually going to let Garrett answer this question.
Absolutely. So a couple of these features that we showed today are package specific. So for example, the contacts tool, because it is a marketing tool that is a part of the registration and marketing package. And the push notifications are with the attendee package. And however, the SMS notifications, the email broadcasts, the social wall, and the check-in system are all a part of the basic package. Now, I did see there was one other question here. They were thinking it may be an enhancement request. They were asking if someone in accounting is registering the attendee and will use their email address so they can receive the receipt. However, it seems to be counterproductive when it's not the attendee's email in the system. Is there an enhancement to include a second email for receipt and invoice purposes only? And there is actually, this is a part of that list of updates that Chad was showing. There is now, as you go through registration, there is an option to CC someone on your registration, and they will receive a copy of that as well. There's another question in the chat. In your opinion, is the social wall the best way for presenters to share their presentation files? So Sarah, I would say it is definitely one way. The best way, in my opinion, if a presenter logs into the system, they can actually upload their files directly to the session itself. So if you're worried about attendees who didn't register to that specific session having access to that documentation, that's a good way to draw that line in the sand there. If they upload it to the session, only those who are registered would be able to download those attachments. Any other questions? I want to give it a couple more minutes for just in case anybody's currently typing, and then we can go ahead and close out. I do want to give a special thanks to Tom. That was a great presentation. He's been a long-standing client of ours, and of course we encourage anyone who is a part of this webinar that wants to be included on a future user spotlight, please contact us. Either the support email on screen, or you can contact Chad directly. We'd love to set something up with you. I'm not seeing any other questions in chat, so I think we're good to close out. Everybody, thank you so very much for coming. We really appreciate your attendance.
Yep, and just to let you know, if you do have any additional questions, please reach out to conftrack@engineerica.com, or if you want to discuss your next event, you can reach out directly to me at chadb@engineerica.com. We'll be sending this recording out to everyone as soon as it is processed, so probably sometime tomorrow. Also, if you've done these tech talks with us before, you're going to be redirected to a survey. We'd love to get your feedback. So if you please, stick around, answer that survey. That would really help us out in kind of knowing what you liked about the tech talks, what maybe you don't like, what you like to see maybe in a future tech talk. All right, well, thank you all, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And again, thank you, Tom. We really appreciate it.
Have a great day, everyone.